time. So I was like, that was a first. So to have that happen, I was like, wow, it's amazing. So to tie this in, I was like, so the lady at my job at the time, I won't mention her name, but she was white and she kept trying to act black, be black, like all the mannerisms. Like she had that Charleston accent, but nothing about her matched. And I remember after like maybe the first 2 weeks, I started feeling irritated. I was like, I have to work with her, but I was like, something's off here. Like something's off. Like I'm not just, this ain't just the surface. So I let it ride, obviously, about 2-3 more weeks. And then as I'm at work, she just wouldn't leave me alone. Like she would always ask questions that we all know how to do. And I'm just like, nah, something about this really don't feel right. I said, I know what it is. I said, it's her spirit. I was like, oh, it's ugly. Like it's so ugly. Her spirit is so, so ugly. And then I was like, that's what my spirit's telling me. Cause it's like, I wasn't on the surface, I wasn't getting offended. Internally, I was getting offended. It was very strong. It was just like, ooh, I can't stand to see that. So what I did was, and this is how I talked to Jebediah. You can conjure this guy up. I was like, I know who I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call Jebediah. I'm gonna call him up. And then like, you gotta talk shit to him. You just gotta talk shit to Jebediah. I'd be like, Jebediah, you black motherfucker. You black skinny motherfucker. I need you to carry out this order. And I would just tell him whatever, like you talk shit to him like that, because you getting that energy together. And then I did what I did. I told him about the woman at my job, her, and what she was doing. 2 weeks later, she was fired. Matter of fact, I wasn't even there. I remember I called out. And I stayed home that day. I come back in the following night, and then so basically the 2 weeks, and then the day after that, I come in, I'm like, yo, where's such and such? They're like, hey, man, she fired. What? Yeah, man, they let her go. I was like, oh, Jebediah, you good. I was just like that. I was like, nah, man, that worked. And it's not like no one can use it, but for everybody. It's this energy by everybody. I mean, us. I mean, like us, like for our ancestors, like how we use it with our ancestors.
Yeah, we have our, like, I agree wholeheartedly with that, because I think that because of their life experiences, I think that's why some of us are more pro-black than others, just because we're more willing to tap into that. We're more, like, for me, you know, when I pray, I don't know if it's an altar, but like I have candles and I have an incense little thing. So, when I pray to my ancestors, I always say, you know, like, I have no problem praying for something bad to happen to people now, because if I know I've been wrong, I'm to the point where instead of me just like, oh, it's okay, you know, karma's gonna get them. Now I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, let me pray to my ancestors so something swift happens to them. So that way, when my anger hurts being avenged, so is theirs. I always pray to my ancestors, like, you know, if you've ever wanted to make somebody your footstool and you never had the chance, you know, like, please, you know, take your anger out on this person because they're doing me wrong. You know, I haven't done anything wrong to this person. So I wholeheartedly agree with, you know, conjuring Jebediah. Like, I have no problem with that, because it's like, to me, at the end of the day, you know, we as a culture, people have no problem at all using us for our talents, for our strengths. But when it comes to giving us basic human rights, it's like, nah, you're going too far. Like, we can use your cooking, we can use your athletic abilities, we can try to take, you know, your recipe, the way you guys, you know, add flavor on any and everything. But 40 acres and a mule? Nah. You want us to stop killing y'all unarmed? Nah, that's way too much. So I have no problem at all, you know, praying for vengeance, because I feel like at the end of the day, you have to be able to acknowledge every single emotion that you're feeling, because you are human. I feel like being Black in general, you know, when we express ourselves, we're called angry. When we're, you know, when we try to do something other, you know, outside of the normal stereotypical things, we're seen as different, you know. And when, to me, we're no different from anybody else. Why can't we acknowledge our depression and work through it? Why can't we acknowledge that, you know, our parents may have done some toxic things to us, so now we got a fucked up mentality and we're trying to break that mold? Why can't we acknowledge those things without being seen like you're trying to be somebody other than yourself?
Honestly, I feel like it is up to us to break down the stereotype, especially as parents. You know, we're raising our kids in this generation. I'm pretty sure our parents experience it as well, where, you know, it feels they're going to have that much more influence on them. They're going to be around them a whole lot more because we have to work a whole lot. So I do feel that it's our personal responsibility to teach kids to be themselves no matter what. Be that nerd. Honor those nerds. If you want to read comic books, do that. You know, be you no matter what, because in the end, I can go to Walmart and I see other people of other cultures. They let their kids run around and they're doing all this extra stuff. And then, like, we as a Black culture, we're always telling our kids, don't do that. You're embarrassing me. Sit down. We are always that culture that does that. So
we police
ourselves. I
ourselves.
expect my kids to act right. I do want them to also harvest the fact that they are them, and I don't want to change them. I do want to backtrack on, it was Jebediah
Yep.
that we were speaking about earlier.
Yeah.
I visited him recently.
Word.
I went to sleep and it was real quick, and I'm so upset that I didn't get a chance to actually just remember and I guess cultivate the experience. But I remember walking into a room and he was there and he said, "Welcome back." And I was like,
Shut up.
And that was it though. So now I was like, okay, I always questioned the fact that I was separating from my husband to come out here to take care of things. About maybe 4 or 5 months ago, actually it was like maybe a year ago, I remember having a dream. And this is after we had built our altar and put our ancestors up there, and I started praying and talking to them and everything. I had a dream that I needed a ladder. I needed a ladder in the house. I just didn't know. I was like, am I supposed to build it? Am I supposed to buy it? Like, I was overthinking it. But on my way down here, I stopped at a friend's house and he was getting rid of a ladder. And I was like, I need that. That told me this is where I'm supposed to be. And then when I got here, that's when I had that dream where Jebediah was saying, "Welcome back." And I was like,
what? You didn't tell me that. I didn't know Jebediah paid you a visit.
yes. When you said the top hat and all that, because I was like, who is this? I was kind of scared because I've never been visited before. Not in my dreams. I've never had a visitor. Like, I've never been somewhere. I've never had that spiritual journey. And when I got that, I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. It was like amazing. So I feel more awakened, and I do regret not having all those extra tools to help me cultivate that, because I also have a whole lot going on between taking care of mom and being mom and just making sure things are good. But I am at peace spiritually. It's just my anxiety is very high because I'm not doing those things that I need to do.
That's a good place to go. When I didn't have, like, I say, certain spiritual tools and supplies for myself, whether it be via candles, via herbs, look as if you have. So that's just going to leave you with your mind. Remember, you don't necessarily need the candles necessarily because you're utilizing your mind anyway. So the power, when I'm saying your mind, it's more to it. That's where your real powers come from. It's coming from your spirit. You're utilizing your mind to access your spirit and wield those things. So by me putting the candle up and the incense up, those have spiritual intentions when we light them, but they also distract your humanity from getting in the way when you're actually doing these rituals. So basically, you're quieting yourself and you're getting yourself in a much relaxed state. Because I don't know if you noticed, but for me, if I'm not as relaxed, I'm not necessarily 100% on that flow or on that frequency. So it takes a little while longer sometimes for me to meditate just to get there, just so I know, hey, because I know the feeling. I already have the template of how my meditation should at least feel. And then from there, it's like, well, the next step is let's experience the outcome as it comes.
Yes.
And then one of my biggest hangups was I'll be like, well, what if I forget? So to counteract that, to keep that voice from playing in my head, to quiet that, I would just tell my spirit simply, hey, let me know what's going on. So next thing you know, I'm surprised and I'm like, how did this happen? And then that memory, my spirit just reminds me like on the spot, like, oh, you did this. And remember, we did X, Y, and Z to do this. And I'm just like, whoa, like this happened.
Right.
So yeah, it all definitely plays in. It ties in. I just give Jebediah some liquor. I pour him out some liquor on the altar. He's normally in it with my day-to-day when I do my libations. I'll pour, before I was pouring my libations every day. Now I do it when I feel like when it's time for me to do it. It's like, oh, the energy's right, go pour it. Because sometimes on my altar, they'll still be drinking the liquor, and then at other times they're just taking their time drinking the liquor. So it's just like, hey, look, man, it's time to put y'all to work. Like, you know, if y'all drinking this fast and I ain't making to the next task yet, I'm gonna slow y'all down. Y'all just do what y'all do. So a lot of the times, since you already had that first encounter, you expect more. That's the biggest thing. You want to put yourself because you already proved to yourself that it can.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for it not to happen. Again,
That's true.
For me, one of the things I would do before I go to bed, I just be very general before I start getting specific. I'd be like, look, man, whatever spirit want to come through, want to party tonight, come through and let's see what happens. There was actually one goddess that came through. Oh, it led me to my grandmother. So when my grandmother had passed, it was a whole transitioning thing with her. Matter of fact, I actually found the goddess because I got in the dream world and I was inside the spirit shop, and I was like, oh man, all these look really nice. And then the spirit, this little spiritual figurine talked to me. It was like, pick me, get me. And I was just like, what? I'm about to get you. So then I got ready I grabbed her and I'm going to check out. She's still talking to me. I'm just like, hey, chill out. Let's check out. We go our way. Then this white man tried to touch it. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Don't you ever touch this. She was just happy I got out of there. So then I found out when I woke up, it took about a day and a half. I figured out who she was. It was a deity called Hanano Tepo. Hanano Hatepo. I believe it was like Hawaiian, something like that. I'll get this specific one, the specific origin later. But anyway, this is how all this ties in together. So now I'm like, it was night. I remember when at the time I wasn't working nights. So I had all the nights off. Well, this particular time, it was a weekend. And I was watching the movie Moana. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I was like, I just had this dream about this Hawaiian goddess. Now I'm watching Moana. If you pay attention to Moana, it's talking about the heart chakra. Because if you notice on that hill, they have the pillars of stone, represents the staff. Staff is leading up to the green stone, the heart chakra.
Right.
Talking about overcoming the heart. That night, as I went to bed, I remember, because the mood was set, I remember that night, I went to bed. Guess who decides to come up? Graham. Graham decides to come up. I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen you in forever, like since you passed. So she's there with a big old smile. She gave me the biggest hug, and I felt so warm and so loved. And then she told me, I love you, and I'm always with you. And at that point, I remember I woke up, and after I woke up from that, I was just like, man, I gotta do some heart chakra stuff because I don't know exactly what's going on. So I was like, obviously, I had heart chakra work to do, and that's not a fast process. That's not something you can just skip through because remember, you have all that trauma from your childhood you gotta filter through. Not only did it come from your childhood, but it poured into your adolescent stage, and now you're even seeing the after effects even in your adulthood. So just sifting through it. It's not hard. It's just you taking time out, or me taking time out my day to be observant of my own thoughts and my situations. Because I'll ask myself, well, how did that come about? And it's normally 10 times out of 10 for me. I'm chasing it back to something that happened during my childhood. So my heart chakra work for me is releasing myself from those traumas that I'm still carrying. And even some of the traumas I'm not even admitting to. That's very key. Self-honesty. Because how can you expect to release something if you're not being honest? You'll sit there sometimes, you'll feel it, or you will ignore it, which is you just ignoring your spirit, and you won't even address it. You just let it fester. Because sometimes you may think it's just easier to let it just be and not deal with it until it gets serious. So that was one of the things I was facing. So my whole direction for my spiritual work, that's why I want to do the whole chakra aspect, because it's a lot of releasing and evolving and expanding when you start dealing with the chakras. So like, especially when you start dealing with the chakras, one of the major side effects I noticed was my dreams got even more, we'll say different, especially when I started leaving my body. That was weird at first, but now I'm comfortable, and now I'm back in the place to where I'm like, all right, well, let's program myself for the next destination. Yeah, Jebediah, he's very good. He likes, I don't know, did he tell you what he likes yet? I mean,
No, I haven't gotten a conversation, no nothing. He just said, welcome back.
All right, so real simple. Since you don't have anything, I know the situation. You can talk to him like you're talking to me. I did the same thing with Aaliyah. And let me tell you the side effect of how this happened. You'll wonder, well, why am I doing this? Because you asked for it. So I asked Aaliyah, I said, man, what do you want to drink? Obviously, I wasn't looking for immediate, yes, I want this. What my body started doing was craving Sprite. I could not stop craving Sprite. And I said, oh, you motherfucker. I said, Aaliyah, you just want some Sprite? I got some Sprite, put it on the altar. I stopped craving Sprite.
Wow.
That's some of these cravings that you have. If you ask the spirit what they want to eat and stuff like that, you start getting these cravings. And because you're like, this is something I normally don't do. Because before it was Coca-Cola. I would have a bottle of Coke. And how the Coke came about was there was this cat in our neighborhood. He was a part of this little group we made, a part of our own little Wu-Tang group. So we called him Wu. His name was Wu. He was a tomcat. So perfect. I stared into his eyes and I was like, show me who you really are. And this is me just on a whim. Just let's see where this takes me. I go to bed, show me two sides of himself. Feminine. I said, what's your name? Straight female cat. Motherfucker had a skirt on. I said, hold up. You look like a woman, but for like a cat. I said, what's your name? She says, my name is Dozo. I said, Dozo? I was like, all right, whatever, man. I ain't about to do nothing. Go back to bed the following night. Comes back. This time as a male cat. Like, I told you my name's Dozo. Let's get to work. I was like, again, I come out the dream. What the hell we about to do? But at the time, I was dealing with my VA stuff. So the lady, when I was doing my disability. So the lady, I forgot her name. I remember I felt very wrong. I was getting ready to file my paperwork for the VA, and there was something that she completely, like, she lied to me about or something.
The same lady that I was dealing with?
Yeah, I just didn't hear from her no more. She just kind of fell off the earth. Well, I remember that. Did you hear anything from her?
Again?
Did you ever hear anything from her?
No, but I just came across her number, so I was gonna try her.
Hey, well, my spirit cut me off from her because before we was in the dream world. Dozo took out it's like a witch's knife. So it's, I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's called a bowen or a bone. Not bone, but bowen. I forgot, but it's kind of like, it's shaped like a sickle and it's a handle. I just see him. He pulls out this blade from his throat and just straight cuts her throat. And I was just like, well, I'm not hearing from her anymore. Guarantee it. Matter of fact, I remember after that, for 2 weeks straight, I went trying to hunt her down. She had my number,
Right.
I had her number, and I was just like, yeah, whatever happened, I don't think I want to know, whatever. I'll just let that be that. I was just like, henceforth, my spirit was like, hey, man, I got you. Don't worry. So how the Coke came along, I said, man, Dozo, what you want to drink? I already put some catnip for him on my altar. He ain't want the catnip. It was just like, motherfucker, not all cats like catnip, all right? Not us spiritually. So I was like, I thought it would be a bonus. So then before I knew it, I was like, what do you want to drink? I couldn't stop drinking Coca-Cola. That's when I caught on. I was drinking Coca-Cola for like a month straight. I didn't want no water. I didn't want anything else but Coca-Cola. I said, all right, man, this shit getting old. So I was just like, let me just put this on my altar and see what happened. Because I always had a red candle for Dozo whenever I wanted. I ain't gonna lie. I was in the realm of just fucking niggas up just to fuck them up. Like, if they wronged me. So it could be the slightest thing, but it would never be anything too serious because I just wanted to test it out. Well, it worked, but I was like, let me cut back. Whatever. But so when I put the Coke on the altar, I noticed, I was like, oh, wow, he just really wanted this soda the whole time. So then I got a little cat bowl, and then I just poured it, and then we've been good ever since. That little guy actually helped me get a promotion on the job. So I was in the dream world. I went to bed. I started dreaming, and then he said, get ready for a raise. I was like, what? Before I knew it, I don't know what, I still don't know what this part meant, but he cut the pallets, cut all the pallets in half. Now I know what it meant. He was cutting off my workload because I was doing more work than what I was getting paid for. And then that following week, I remember I actually got hired on officially to the job, and I had got a raise. So I was like, well,
Word.
he definitely will kick some ass and, might help you get a promotion. I can't say what he would do for every person who decides to call in his name. So I did a whole, that was fun. That was one of the things that was really fun. So my fast forward, so we did the Cravens. So then my grandmother's sister died. Now, my grandmother growing up, she called her older sister her mother because she lost her mother. So it was like, even though they were sisters, it became like a mother-daughter relationship, but they were still sisters. So my grandmother died first, then her sister died. And I was like, that's odd. I said, I think I need to do something for him. So there's actually a ritual in the form of meditation that you can do very easy. Basically, you can ferry your ancestors' spirit if they're still stuck in Christianity. That's what they're still expecting on the other side. They're waiting on you to show up. So what I did was I went into meditation, and I was talking to my great grandmother. I was like, hey, you need to come here. And I had Anubis with me. I was like, you need to come here. Don't go near the light. You coming back if you go near the light. That's another round trip. Go to the darkness. Don't go to the light. Christians tell you go to the light. Don't go to the light. You're going to be back on lock. You're going to
find yourself back over here.
Exactly. So once I ferried her back over, I did the ritual. That night, I see my grandmother and her sister in a nice home. But it's like she was spiritually worn out. Her sister was spiritually worn out. My grandmother said, thank you. I got it from here. Like, she just put a blanket over. It's like, I got it from here. I ain't seen her since. I ain't seen my grandmother's sister since. I saw my grandmother again like 2 months later, but I ain't seen my grandmother's sister since. I was like, oh, she done hooked her up. I don't know what she did, but I'm gonna let that be them. So
she hooking her up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And when I saw my grandmother now, she actually created. I saw her again. I have a lot of interactions with her. I saw her again. I saw her 2 more times after that. The first time before the last.
I'm so sorry. I gotta cut this short. I got mommy duties.
Go ahead.
Baby's up. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for this.
No problem.
All right, we'll talk again.
All right.
All right. How do I do this? Okay.
Well, I'll finish this part of the story out with you. So So my grandmother, what part was that? She came. Oh, that's
yeah. So your grandma came to see you again.
Yeah, she came to see me again. But this time, this is what I found out. You obviously, well, I don't know if you know, but there's other worlds, obviously outside of 3 dimension. Because when you go to dream,
oh yeah, oh absolutely.
So she showed me her world, and she still longed for her husband on Earth, my grandfather. Before I knew it, she had created her own world with him there. So that told me, oh, she waiting for him. She just created her own world. Because whenever I was in the dream world and I was very lucid, I could create whatever I wanted to appear before me, and that became a reality. I was like, oh, I can do this. She was showing me, oh.
Random question.
Yep.
And do you think your grandmother is your family shepherd? Like she's literally there to guide anybody that passes away to the ancestral plane versus to the light?
I would say now she is, because when I knew her on Earth, she wasn't. My grandfather was a Jehovah's Witness. She didn't necessarily agree with him, because I actually asked her before she passed. I said, well, what are your thoughts? Because I know how Jehovah's Witnesses get down. She said, look, my family didn't come from that. She said, honestly, what I do is I just let your grandfather do what he does. She said, I'm just used to just going up, cleaning up the house, going to work occasionally here and there. That's that. She's like, anything spiritual, I'm not really inclined to do. So when I got to when I was with her in the astral world, she was like, I'm just free to do whatever. So I'm going to do that. She didn't come to me until I started talking to her. But to answer your question, yes, ancestors can be that, because they get to a level of competency going back to the other side, because they're remembering. If they haven't done any work on this side and they just expect to remember, I don't know how likely that's happening. With my grandmother, she didn't really remember all that much. So there are times to where I'll be like, here, I'll just put stuff on for her even while I'm leaving the house. Listen to this, because this can give you everything I don't have time to say in one setting, just so you can remember who you are. Then she actually came back to me and she gave me her actual soul name. She actually gave me her soul name. She came back and she gave me her soul name another time. So I was like, well, I'll keep that for myself. So I'm just going to set that to a side. And that was just the spiritual work I was dealing with my grandmother. So as a shepherd, she can be if I view her as that. I just don't view her as that. I view her as just as a obviously feminine energy, but as a mother figure. So she's always been that like a big motherly figure in my life. So I just view her as a mother figure. Obviously, when I start doing meditations to let's see what else you can become, she'll come to me. Right now, I'm just coming to her on that level. I'm not coming to her on whatever else she might be, because I'm just like, I'm good right here. I'm enjoying this right now. When I get tired of this, I'll want to see more of that, and you can control that. No, that's what I've learned. I can control it. Anybody can control it. I just haven't geared my mind towards, let's see what else you've become so far. Because I just let her show up. So yeah, I just let her show up. 1 second here. Let me hit. Hold on, say that one more time.
So does she appear when you need her, or just when you talk to her?
Basically, it was both. The first time, it was when I needed her, she came to me. And when I talked, the first time it was both. I needed her, so then I started talking to her whatever way I thought I knew how, because I did a whole ritual just to even get my mind geared towards believing that I could talk to her and I could have a visitation from her in any way, shape, or form that my mind would allow it to happen. So then whenever I started talking to her when I did need her, or just to do it, I started talking to her just to do it. I noticed the increase of her showing up in my dreams, and she would just have a message, or she would just comfort me. There's been several nights she didn't even show up in dreams. I'd be like, Grandma, I just need a hug. Before bed, there she was. I actually felt like a body hugging mine, and I just felt so warm. It was like a peace. It was so peaceful. It was like this, I can't describe it, how peaceful it was, because it was so assuring. It was just so relaxing. I was just like, oh, ain't nothing to worry about. And I just felt peaceful. I fell asleep like a baby. I just fell asleep like a little baby. I just felt so helpless. I'm not helpless, but I felt so comfortable that I was just like, I'm helpless to this energy because it's nothing but love. It's just like, I accept this. And it's just, But really, what I was doing was, if I wanted to talk to her, I just talked to her. I just didn't, I would light a candle when I felt I needed to light a candle.
Gotcha.
Starting out, I would always light a candle. And I also know the actual science on lighting the candle. Now, everything that happens spiritually, that's just what happens. And what's happening is whatever I'm supposed to be experiencing in that moment. And it's very real.
Yeah.
Because I found out quickly, once my dreams picked up, once I had awakened to who I was like, oh, Earth ain't shit.
Oh yeah.
Earth ain't shit. I was like, this ain't real. I was like, as in, I would hear this is all an illusion.
It's just corrupt as a whole.
Exactly. And my spirit was like, oh no, you think this is an illusion? Oh man, this was another good one. I was my spirit, because your spirit would even take on, your spirit to create a scenario for you as you dream to, i.e., answer a question you had. And I remember I was dealing with, well, how necessarily is this an illusion? And I remember I went to bed, and I ain't gonna lie, this is a little weird. This is weird. It played out. It was like a scene from The Matrix. We had all played out, and my spirit was like, I need you to dodge this. Oh, it's breaking. I'm sorry, it's breaking up. My bad. But my spirit had shown me this. So we went to the dream world because I was like, I'm trying to figure out how is this real or not. Before I know, my spirit creates this whole scenario. It was like, hey, look, I need you to dodge this this ninja shuriken. And I had this blade. Now, I felt badass. I'm not going to lie. I had on all black. I'm looking at Morpheus. It's like, all right, let me do this. Let me do this. So I'm getting ready. I'm like, it's like dodge the shuriken. So I take the sword and I hit it. And I'm just like, what? Yeah. And he was like, now let me show you that this is also real. Like real. He punches me in the face. And I actually felt pain. I was like, oh, hold up. He was trying to teach me a lesson. He was like, you can control whatever you want. You can feel as much pain and whatever emotion in this world compared to the other world. You're only at a certain degree on the 3D structure. But here, this is what's real. You feel more alive. You feel things more vibrant. That's just dreaming, or your spirit just going to a different place. So I was just like, I didn't know that. And then I found myself getting stuck. It was like stepping into the pool, but I didn't quite learn how to swim in the deep end yet. So then I start realizing, oh wow, Earth is the illusion. I was doing very, very heavy meditations for astral travel. So I was just trying to set myself up to where I wanted to go. Well, I never had this happen. I actually got stuck within a dream inside a dream. This was the trippy part. I was in my room all 3 times. I kept waking up in my bed. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I think I went too deep. Like, I'm not confident enough because I kept getting stuck. I was like, it's time to wake up. I woke up. I'm moving around. An exact replica of my own home. And I'm just like, hold up. Something gave it away. I forgot what it was. Something was just out of place. I was just like, God damn it, I'm still asleep, or my spirit's not back in my body yet. I was like, it's time for us to go back. I'm like,
oh, wow.
I was like, I had fun, but it's time for me to go back. So then I woke up again, and I was like, my body I was so hot, my body was in a sweat. I wasn't scared. I was just shocked. I was like, I never had this happen. But obviously, you're going to have weird things happen. The uncommon happens, basically.
Oh yeah. I was telling Tiffany, like, what happened? Like 2 weeks ago, it was just really weird. Like I had been feeling like just spiritually off all day, and I get in my car. Oh, this shit was so creepy, Dave. So creepy.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm happy to continue. Let me take at least.
Oh, no, you did. No, all I said was just that it's funny you say that things just randomly happen, because I had gone off work last week. And I was just feeling so beat down spiritually and mentally. And I get in my car and close the door. As soon as I close the door, my door locks start going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Then they stop. It finally locked and stopped. Mind you, I didn't touch nothing and this happened. So I'm freaking out. Like, I'm shaking. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm calling Tiffany. She didn't answer. And then as soon as I put my car, I was getting ready to go, a car came zooming around the corner in my parking garage. Had I just gotten in my car and went, I would have got hit.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. But the biggest thing to me, I noticed that definitely like happens. It's like your spirit or your ancestors, they're intervening. Like you're just trying to go about your day. And you be like, well, why is this happening? And then you'll see why it happened.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I learned. A big part for me, my biggest obstacle at the time was whenever I would do a ritual, other than being impatient, I would be like, well, why is this happening to me? And then not too long afterwards, I'll see this big surprise, something that like helps me, that benefited me. It was like a surprise, a big surprise. And like next thing you know, I'm benefiting from the situation. And then that's when I start remembering, oh, that's right. I was doing these rituals to set all this in motion. I just didn't see it. I was the way I was perceiving it was wrong. So now my mentality is perceive everything as spiritual. Because since I started doing all these rituals, I was like, oh, a lot of spiritual things are happening. Like for me, nature plays a big part. So I actually do a lot of if I keep seeing the same animal a lot, I start looking up the spiritual meaning behind that animal totem, and that'll start giving me feedback on certain things that I didn't know or that's happening around me, and I can use that for whatever it is I'm doing, and that's actually helped me out a lot. So like my biggest thing is spiders. I love when I see spiders. Now, I don't love spiders itself, but I did some background research on spiders and the spirituality part, and spiders deal with fate. So whenever I was like, well, how do I know I'm on the right path, or this is the good path for me? Next thing you know, I would start seeing spiders, and then I would just find random. I'm just getting wrapped up in these random webs of fate, because that's how the book described it. So I was just like, yo, we in there. Like I can't make this up. This is the direction we're heading in. And then obviously when I stayed on course, I would see another big wow result at the end of that. So I'm just like, all right. So now I'm getting more comfortable knowing myself and going through this, and I'm not satisfied, but I have a level of satisfaction as I've been dealing with some of the things I'm doing. Earlier you mentioned baths. I love taking spiritual baths. One of the things I do when I take a spiritual bath, obviously, for my aura, I do a little trick. In my aura, I put little black orbs in my aura. It's for those trying to cipher off energy and bother me. They get a little nasty treat. Before I started noticing it, I was like, why is this person not all of a sudden so well? Before they were just doing well. And then I was like, hold up. I've been doing this spiritual bath, and I've been putting this shit in my aura. I was like, to stop that, because I found myself more energized. Like I was keeping more of my energy. So it was like garlic for vampires. Like, stay away. I was just like, oh, so you one of those quote unquote energy vampires.